Okay, so for some of you that don't like the IRS to be digging into everything, pay attention because you're going to love the TFRA. Welcome to the Guaranteed Retirement Guy Show. So I'm going to answer a question. Is the TFRA the same as infinite banking? So when you think of TFRA, it's really an acronym for tax-free retirement account. And when you think of infinite banking, you think of, well, I'm able to be my own banker, right? I'm able to lend to myself. I don't have to rely on my bank to give me loans. How is a TFRA, a tax-free retirement account, how is that the same? Well, I'm about to show you. So TFRA accounts have been around for a long, long time. In fact, even though they've been around for so long, literally less than 1% of Americans have them set up, okay? They rely on 401ks. They rely on IRAs. That's what we're taught. We're taught to put our money into an IRA and a 401k, and it's going to take care of us for retirement. And, and if you do put enough money into it, maybe it will. Or unfortunately, a lot of times it's not enough. Or you're paying high taxes. So that's the other thing. You have to pay taxes. Your money's not very liquid in a 401k. And if the market drops, you're going down with it. Another thing to remember is you have to report it all to the IRS. Okay, so for some of you that don't like the IRS to be digging into everything, pay attention because you're going to love the TFRA. So a lot of people ask, well, is it too good to be true? I mean, it sounds like it can give me everything I want, and obviously there's no vehicle that could possibly give me tax-free income and protect me against market risk and protect me against the IRS rules and regulations. Well, actually, there is. So John F. Kennedy had one of these. John McCain actually used one of these to help fund his campaign for presidency. So you have a few people like that. You have, Presidents Taft, Cleveland, they had one. Harding had one. There's a handful of other people. They use it over at General Electric as one of their major benefits of their comp plans for their top executives. And then there are people such as a highly paid coach over in Michigan who is putting $2.5 million into his every single year for 7 years and letting it grow so he can have tax-free income for the rest of his life. And we're talking tax-free income to the tune of $1.4 million every single year for the rest of his life. So the question you probably have is, well, how do I get a hold of one of these? How do I look at one of these? How can I find out more about this? Well, let me show you exactly how this works. So I'm going to be sharing my screen here, and we're just going to be looking at a client. Let's say he's 41 years old, standard non-tobacco, because we're tying this to a life insurance policy. Now, keep in mind, when you're setting up a TFRA, you have to leverage some law, okay, to do it correctly and to do it legally. And in this case, we're leveraging the rules and laws of life insurance. And when it's done properly, it can be huge for tax-free income and for the infinite banking concept. Be your own banker. So for this example, I'm having the death benefit increase for 10 years just to give us enough room. If we want to stuff more money into this, we can. Okay, and if you notice, I have the box checked minimum death benefit, maximum cash value. That's because we want the death benefit to be as low as legally possible, but at the same time, have the cash grow as much as it possibly can. And it can't do that if you have the death benefit too high. So I'm also going to start out at $500 a month, which I would recommend to anyone who's serious about setting this up. You really should start out with at least $500 a month. And then I'm going to have it do it for 4 years, and then we're going to graduate it up slowly. So a few more years, it'll be $800 a month, and then it'll be $1,000, then it'll be $1,500, and so on. And you'll notice for the last one, I had $1,500 for years 14 through 27. So I took 14 years just to get it up to that point. You don't have to do it that way. You can do it a lot sooner or a lot later. The more aggressive you are, the more wealth you're going to build and quicker you're going to build it. Okay. So I'm going to look at this and I'm going to solve for income in 28 years. Okay. So let's take a look and see exactly what this is going to do. Okay. So you'll see the annual premium because it's a life insurance policy, but remember, it is overfunded. We're putting way more money in here than it needs, which is why the death benefit's only $800,000. Now, we're pushing that down as low as the IRS will let us push it, okay? Okay, so here's what it looks like. You're looking at $6,000 a year. That's $500 a month. And then you notice it rises to $9,600, which is that $800 a month, and then so on. You can see that slowly raised to $12,000, then to $18,000 a year for the rest of the policy years. And then you'll notice at age 68, I have him taking income of $44,000 a year. And we can change this up and we can get it more aggressive, but this is just an example, okay? So $44,000 a year, that's what he's going to take out for the rest of his life, and that's tax-free, okay? So remember that. If you want $60,000 a year in just regular income, $44,000 is probably going to be your net, depending on what taxable bracket you're in. So remember that as well. So that's the beauty as far as the tax-free income is concerned. But let's look at the infinite banking. Okay, TFRA, tax-free retirement account. We've got that squared away. But what about infinite banking? Well, let's look at these two columns here. You got accumulated value and you've got surrender value. The accumulated value, you notice, starts right away. The surrender value takes time to catch up, and that's just the insurance company trying to get back its costs for setting this up. And keep in mind, when they set these up, they're protecting it against market loss as well. So remember, it's part of an index. Okay, so they want that index to go up, but if the index goes down, they have to have a way of protecting you against market fluctuations. So you'll notice in year 5, surrender value starts to creep up. Eventually it gets up to, you can see a year 11, they match exactly. They're both $70,000 a year. $70,000 in the account. Here's the beautiful thing about infinite banking. It's based off the surrender value, so you can loan to yourself whatever's in the surrender value. But you'll notice over time that surrender value, of course, after year 10, keeps up with the accumulated value. It can get pretty large. In fact, you can see in 15, 16 years down the road, you've got $171,000. Now think about this. If you can have money in 2 different places at once, making money for you, would you do it? Absolutely. Think about it. If I have $100,000 making 10% here, but if I can make 10% over here with the same $100,000, would I do it? Especially without hurting this $100,000? Yeah, absolutely. Every single day. And that's exactly what this policy will do for you. So here's what you would do in this instance. And we have clients that do this. You can see the accumulated value is $171,000. The surrender value is $171,000. So if you take a loan out for $171,000, you could take that and let's say you put it in a loan. Maybe you're loaning a hard money loan, let's say, and you're making 10% on it, okay? Making 10% on your hard money loan, you probably make a little bit more than that, but let's just say 10%. Let's say your cost for the loan is 4%, okay? Maybe it's 5% because you have a high interest environment right now. Okay, so you're making a 5% net. You're making your 10% on the note, and you're making, and of course you're spending 5% for that loan. Now, remember at the same time, this $171,000 is still sitting in your account because you took it as a loan. Okay, the insurance company gave it to you as a loan and they used your accumulated value as collateral, which means the $171,000 is still sitting there earning interest. So if that index goes up 10%, you've earned 10%. Now your 171 is pretty close to 190,000. Okay, that's pretty good. And at the same time, your 171,000 over in this account has earned you 5%. Okay, so we're talking what like 16, half of 17,000. You're roughly 8,500 is what you made in interest on that. So if you combine them together, what did you make? 15% net. That's pretty good and that's if you take your money and you use it in a different spot versus where it's at. Okay, you don't have to take your money out. You can leave it in there. You can let it compound and you don't have to do anything with it. But since you decided to take the money out and you were smart and you put it in another investment, now all of a sudden you're making a whole lot more. Now think of what the numbers would look like if that investment was making 15% or even 20%. And remember, your cost for the loan is still the same. Okay, think about the wealth that you can build. That's what people do to build wealth. They'll take this money out, they'll use it somewhere else, they'll earn money with it, they'll pay it back, and they'll do it over again. And they'll just do it over and over and over. And that's the beautiful thing. This accumulated value column just continues to grow. It grows unhindered. You could take as many loans as you want against it, just keep paying it back. That's the only thing I'd recommend is keep paying it back because you don't want to hurt your tax-free income later on. So definitely recommend that you pay it back. But doesn't this open up the possibilities? You've got your IRA, you've got your 401k, you've got your other plans, which are great. You're tax deferred, unless it's a Roth. But either way, most of them are probably in some type of market fluctuation, market risk. Okay, how would it be to have just a part of your portfolio in something that's not subject to risk and something that can go up as high as the index goes and gives you tax-free income and allows you to have the infinite banking work in your favor where you can continue to use the same money somewhere else and continue to grow and catapult your wealth much, much faster. That's how this works. If you want me to set this up and kind of show you how it would work for you, I'm happy to do so. So if you like what you hear, book a call. It's easy. Just click on the link and you will be able to get right into my calendar and we'll chat. If you've got a question or there's something I haven't covered and you're just curious, please go into the comments section and share whatever question, whatever comment that you have. I'd love to hear from you.